true beliefs. That broke my trust in him, and I pretty much ended the show immediately.
As she was on her way to one of these refugee camps.
I don't know why Israel would want to retaliate. Then you're not in favor of peace.
Okay. This was a major issue.
And a lot of Israelis understand why Hamas exists.
What turned two icons of digital culture, Ethan Klein and Hasan Piker, from allies to strangers in a single moment. Ethan Klein and Hasan Piker were once towering figures, symbols of unity among left-leaning content creators. They shared podcast mics, laughed together, spoke together, and condemned the world's wrongs side by side. But it all unraveled when Ethan dared to voice a differing opinion on the Israel-Palestine conflict. In an instant, a faction of Hasan's fervent fans flipped a switch, branding Ethan a traitor. Their attacks didn't stop at social media vitriol. They harassed Ethan in public spaces, turning a personal disagreement into a dramatic public feud.
Stance on Palestine.
I love it.
You love Palestine?
Yeah, I love Palestine.
You went to Israel, though. You support Netanyahu.
No, you don't.
The irony is that Ethan never turned his back on Palestine. He's one of the few Jewish Americans who has openly criticized the Israeli government.
The cabinet is run by genocidal maniacs, okay? They're led by Netanyahu, who should resign in disgrace and go to prison for being a war criminal.
But to a mob swept up in a frenzy of extremism, truth means nothing compared to the raw anger they're led to feel. In a world where everyone wants to be an online justice warrior, Ethan became the perfect enemy, not because he was wrong, but because he no longer belonged to the right ideology. Ethan isn't alone. YouTubers like ContraPoints, Noah Samson, and Adam McIntyre have also been dragged into similar public trials, yet Ethan may be the only one tough enough to push back, and that very resilience has only fueled the mob's rage, transforming him from ally to a symbol of betrayal. Is it worth it for a public figure to face relentless attacks just for voicing a personal political opinion? Join us as we dig deep into this fallout to uncover the dark corners of today's cancel culture.
Leftist commentators who think they can get one up on me by sicking.
To better understand the unraveling of the relationship between Ethan Klein and Hasan Piker, we first need to revisit the journey of their once close collaboration and the subtle tensions that simmered beneath the surface before erupting into a public conflict. Their partnership began as a testament to shared ideals, sparked through the H3H3 podcast, where Hasan was a frequent guest. This evolved into Leftovers, a joint project built on trust and mutual understanding. The cracks in their relationship truly surfaced in October 2023, when the Gaza-Israel conflict took center stage in Leftovers episode #61. Despite their efforts to remain civil, their differing perspectives became starkly apparent, like two parallel lines destined never to meet.
I don't know why Israel would want to retaliate. Then you're not in favor of peace. And a lot of Israelis understand why Hamas exists.
Here, Ethan emphasized the value of all human lives, warning that focusing solely on supporting one side while overlooking Hamas's controversial actions could undermine fairness and moral depth.
As she was on her way to one of these refugee camps. Okay. This was a major issue.
In contrast, Hasan argued that Israel's wrongdoings, including serious allegations like rape within the IDF, must be condemned without compromise.
How do you not see that? That's in the West Bank. This is a Christian woman. This is not a Muslim. This is not Hamas.
Though they maintained respect during the discussion, it was clear that these differences planted the seeds for an irreparable rift in their relationship. And then, following that fateful podcast episode, Ethan announced an indefinite hiatus for Leftovers, marking the end of their public collaboration.
People are saying rip Leftovers. Yeah, probably. Just to be honest.
We could just call it Leftovers.
Oh, that's so good. Wouldn't that be fucked up if I was like, Leftovers is coming back?
That is fucked up. Don't do that.
Well, you know, for a fact
we've never done that before.
Right.
We never played it.
But the tension didn't end there. Instead, it quickly spread like wildfire across social media platforms. Ethan publicly criticized Hasan for failing to rein in his fan base, particularly the unchecked behavior of individuals like Frogan, who was accused of making inflammatory remarks targeting Jews with differing views.
I'm just curious, how come you don't like Sneeko?
Oh, he's a piece of shit. You like him?
Yes. How come you don't like Palestine?
I like Palestine.
No, you don't.
Why do you say that?
Because, bro, you're. Wasn't she in the IDF?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, that's crazy.
Mandatory service.
That's
She was born
sad. That's terrorism, bro.
there. She was born there.
That's sad. Feel bad for you guys. Ethan Klein, bro, you're ugly as bro. You're ugly as you look like a
Bro, look in the
You look like a Ethan.
However, Ethan was all too familiar with this and maintained that he would never be swayed, even though Hasan's fans had unleashed their anger on every Jew who dared to think differently.
It's too long to get caught off guard by these clowns. And so I immediately perked up.
Meanwhile, Hasan insisted that he had repeatedly urged his fans to show restraint, emphasizing that he had done his part. However, Hasan's team argued that Ethan had exaggerated the issue, continuously stoking the controversy instead of seeking reconciliation. The conflict didn't remain confined to the two individuals. It drew in droves of fans, turning a private disagreement into a public battleground where truth was gradually drowned out by a storm of emotions and extremism.
Protective services to come to our house and break up our family.
And from there, the rift between them escalated into a phase of heightened tension, with Ethan thrust into the eye of a storm of personal attacks and organized harassment campaigns, exposing the troubling underbelly of cancel culture. A striking example was when Ethan found himself in a suffocating situation on the street. A group claiming to be Hasan Piker's fans confronted him, shoving cameras in his face and relentlessly interrogating him with overtly hostile questions.
So you support Netanyahu?
No, I don't.
Stop it, bro. She was in the IDF.
He voted against him.
Despite Ethan repeatedly stating clearly, "Free Palestine," while refusing to endorse Hamas, these declarations were not enough to appease the mob. To them, Ethan's failure to parrot their exact slogans meant he was not passionate enough, making him a target of their outrage. When the video of the incident went viral online, the wave of attacks against Ethan erupted with ferocity. He was branded as fake and even labeled a closet Zionist by a segment of the online community. His critics relentlessly scoured his old videos and posts, searching for evidence to bolster their narratives. More alarmingly, the attacks didn't stop at social media vitriol. A coordinated harassment campaign took shape across platforms like Reddit and TikTok. Subreddits like r/h3snark quickly turned into forums dedicated to smearing and denouncing Ethan, while some went further with actions like threats, doxing, and even filing complaints with CPS to pile psychological pressure on him.
Child Protective Services to come to our house and break up our family.
According to Ethan, the conflict quickly escalated beyond the boundaries of social media when certain individuals took extreme actions, contacting CPS to demand an investigation into Ethan Klein's family. This was not only an unusual move, but also a deeply personal attack aimed at inflicting psychological pressure and damaging Ethan's reputation. In a podcast episode, Ethan openly detailed the incident, describing it as a coordinated campaign of personal vengeance. He emphasized that abusing CPS not only wastes the time of social workers, but also crosses far beyond the line of online trolling.
To which they've gone to harass us and get revenge for going after their god king Hasan, has frankly gone beyond any type of point of civility and humanity.
And Ethan's claim that Hasan's fans were responsible holds water, as some Reddit users openly admitted to instigating CPS checks on Ethan's family, calling it a way to expose his hypocrisy. This action marked a dangerous turning point as online disputes spilled over into invasions of personal life, thrusting Ethan and his family into an unprecedented state of distress. Refusing to stay silent in the face of the onslaught, Ethan chose to hit back hard. He publicly shared evidence of the CPS incident, and he didn't stop at condemnation. He announced plans to pursue legal action to protect himself. In a widely shared video clip, he vowed to take legal steps against those behind the harassment campaign, from the moderators of the r/h3snark subreddit to more influential figures, even name-dropping Reddit's CEO.
Which is the work of a subreddit dedicated to harassing me, my family, my coworkers, and their families too, frankly.
Alongside the CPS incident, Hasan's radical fanbase intensified their campaign against Ethan across multiple platforms, from Reddit to TikTok and Instagram. The r/h3snark subreddit became a hub of criticism, where members repeatedly shared sensitive personal information such as Ethan's home address and workplace, with the stated goal of exposing him. They described Ethan with harsh terms like hypocrite, attacker of the Jewish community's spirit, and even traitor to leftist ideals. Clips from Ethan's old videos were distorted and weaponized to incite the mob, fueling a relentless wave of attacks. On other platforms like r/Moa, some criticized Ethan's handling of his own community, accusing him of inciting his fans to retaliate against opponents. However, these criticisms often lacked context, further escalating hostility and division. The The campaign of doxing and spreading rumors not only harmed Ethan but also laid bare a grim reality when emotions and extremism overpower reason. Destructive personal attacks become tools to enforce viewpoints, regardless of truth or consequences. After enduring intense pressure from an organized harassment campaign ranging from doxing and CPS calls to relentless social media attacks, Ethan Klein refused to remain a silent victim. Instead, he transformed into a strategic advocate, launching what he called Omega Revenge. This phase saw him leverage legal power to hold his attackers accountable, sending a clear message that boundary-crossing behavior would not be tolerated. First, Ethan publicly announced plans to sue the moderators of subreddits like r/h3snark, r/fomoy, and r/YouTube drama, accusing them of posting defamatory and harassment-inciting content. He outlined specific grievances using false images and statements, fraudulently editing content to smear him, and directly interfering with his business and family's personal life. Determined to unmask these moderators, Ethan revealed that his legal team was collecting IP addresses and preparing to bring civil lawsuits against these individuals for charges such as defamation, slander, and reputational harm. This move targeted not only the direct perpetrators but also served as a warning to platforms like Reddit about their responsibility to manage toxic content.
Fucking subreddit. These people are knowingly putting us and employees in danger by sharing this address with each other with malicious intent.
Not stopping at the subreddits, Ethan expanded his legal battle to target streamers like Frogan, Denims, and Casey Tron, whom he accused of unlawfully using his content. Specifically, Ethan claimed that their reaction videos, which often replayed nearly his entire videos with minimal substantive commentary, violated copyright. In his lawsuit, he highlighted instances where streamers used up to 70 minutes of his original content while merely sitting and watching, failing to meet the transformative use standard under copyright law. This lawsuit marked a significant step in Ethan's efforts to protect his intellectual property. He argued that content copyright is not just about ownership, but also carries a responsibility for creativity, and such lazy practices not only harmed him, but also diminished the value of the content creation industry.
It's up to go to the bathroom, or to eat, or to talk to his mom, or to do whatever. Disappears for an extended period of time and leaves the video playing for his chair. Mr. Chair. I, Ethan Klein, have registered Hasan Piker content nuke with the United States Library of Congress. Some of you guys out there sweating?
On June 26, 2025, Ethan Klein shocked fans by announcing on his Instagram story that he had added Shonda Black Wiggs, a streamer and close ally of Hasan Piker, to the list of defendants in his copyright lawsuit. Ethan explained this move as a response to accusations that he was targeting only female streamers, framing the inclusion of Sean as a step toward gender equality. However, the statement immediately sparked fierce backlash from the online community, with many accusing Ethan of racial bias for targeting Sean, a black creator, as a shield against prior criticism for suing female streamers like Frogan, Denims, and Casey Tron. Shauna Black swiftly responded on X on June 27, 2025, calling Ethan's actions a miscalculated move and accusing him of using him as a pawn to pressure female journalists and Hasan Piker. The Reddit and X communities further fueled the controversy, with many criticizing Ethan for targeting smaller creators instead of bigger names like XQC, who had also reacted to Ethan's videos but faced no lawsuits. Ethan didn't back down amid the backlash. In an Instagram post, he stated that if subreddits like r/h3snark and journalists like Taylor Lorenz and Kat Tenbarge publicly apologized for calling him sexist, he would consider dropping the lawsuit against Sean. However, this offer was widely seen as bizarre and coercive, further undermining the legitimacy of his legal actions. Shauna Black rejected the call for an apology, and on June 29, 2025, Ethan unexpectedly announced on X that he was no longer suing Sean, calling it a bit of fun in response to the sexism allegations. Still, he maintained his stance on suing the female streamers, leading many to continue accusing him of inconsistency and bias. Ethan's legal strategy, though framed by him as a calculated plan, raised questions about his true motives. Some argued that Ethan was using the lawsuits to pressure his critics, while his supporters contended that he was merely defending his creative rights in an increasingly chaotic online environment. Right or wrong, adding Shonda Black to the lawsuit transformed Omega Revenge into a new battleground, where accusations of racism, sexism, and legal overreach intertwined, thrusting Ethan into an unrelenting war with both the online community and his own public image. By July 2025, Ethan continued to stir the community with a bold message: "Daddy's watching." This was a warning that his legal campaign was far from over, and anyone crossing boundaries, whether through online harassment, moderating toxic subreddits, or producing lazy reaction videos, could be the next target. Ethan emphasized that this was just the beginning, with his legal team preparing to expand the lawsuits to protect not only himself, but also the values he stands for: fairness, accountability, and respect in the online space. Ethan's legal counteroffensive was not just an effort to defend his personal honor, but also a powerful statement. In a world where harassment campaigns can easily spiral out of control, the law can serve as a weapon to restore order and deter destructive behavior. However, many questioned whether a legal battle could extinguish the flames of extremism or merely deepen the divide. The conflict between Ethan Klein and Hasan Piker's fervent fan base serves as a stark reflection of the challenges facing modern internet culture. Ethan has shown that silence isn't always the right response when confronted with harassment, from doxing and CPS calls to attacks on Reddit, TikTok, and Instagram. By wielding the law as a weapon in his Omega revenge, he demonstrated that destructive behaviors, even those cloaked under the guise of online justice, can face consequences. However, his lawsuits targeting subreddit moderators and streamers like Frogan, Denims, Caseytron, and Sean DeBlack have sparked controversy, with accusations of sexism and racism raising questions about whether his legal battles represent justice or a PR stunt. Regardless of the answer, this saga has laid bare the dark side of purity culture, where dissent is branded as betrayal and disagreement becomes a pretext for purging. When Ethan was labeled hypocritical for not echoing the exact slogans the crowd demanded despite publicly supporting Palestine in a humane way, it highlighted the danger of stifling dialogue to enforce ideological conformity. This conflict is a wake-up call for a society where differences are criminalized and the space for diverse opinions is sealed shut, fostering personal vendettas instead of genuine discussion. Ethan, bolstered by his platform and unyielding resolve, chose the legal path of Omega revenge to combat harassment. But what if Ethan weren't a prominent figure with financial resources or the mental fortitude to withstand such pressure? An ordinary person lacking a voice or confidence could easily be overwhelmed by the tide of hate. They might face isolation, severe psychological harm, or even retreat entirely from public spaces, left with enduring scars to their mental health and reputation. This serves as a warning to all of us living in the digital age, where every word, tweet, or comment can be taken out of context and weaponized. We must remember that free speech ceases to be free when it's reserved for only one side. In retrospect, Ethan is not perfect. His responses may be contentious, but he has done what few dare: transformed resistance into a system of accountability, dragging anonymous actors into the light and forcing them to face legal consequences. But will a legal battle be enough to truly bring this story to a close? As social media continues to churn out new ideological wars, where a single misguided tweet can turn you from a hero to a villain, Ethan Klein is just one name on a long list of those who dared to speak out and paid a price for it. Yet he also serves as a reminder that behind every statement, every rebuttal, is a flesh and blood person with honor, fears, and courage. So what about you? Are you ready to step out of your comfort zone to speak what you believe is right, or will you stay silent, hoping you're not the next target?